Hi, welcome to James Miller Lifeology, where you learn to simplify and transform your spirit, mind, and body. My name is James Miller. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and a composer. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Let's get started. I wanted to take just a quick moment to thank you all who continually support and listen to James Miller Lifeology. I have been so blessed and honored by your continual support. I wanted to make sure that you don't miss out on anything exciting that's happening over here. So make sure you sign up for my free newsletter at jamesmillerlifeology.com. I have a great show for you today. I'm going to help you supplement your life by creating processes that work for you. I'll also be interviewing 3-time all-natural National Bodybuilding Champion and Director of Education at BiOptimizers Nutrition, Wade T LIghtheart. Wade is going to share with you 4 powerful supplements that will revolutionize your digestive system. For more information on Wade and the BiOptimizers Nutrition Supplements, please visit BiOptimizers.com/lifeology, or you may simply purchase these supplements directly in the store at jamesmillerlifeology.com. I have some exciting news. Did you know that I'm on the radio 3 times a week? You may hear me on the same station on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m., Fridays at 9:30 a.m., and Saturdays at 12:30 p.m. You may also hear me anytime on iHeartRadio as well as on all the other major podcasting platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and many others. Simply search for the show name, James Miller Lifeology. Are you struggling today to find your purpose? Has mediocrity set in and you can't imagine doing the same thing for the rest of your life? Are your relationships struggling or you aren't sure how to make long-lasting changes in your life? Then today, contact me, James Miller. I will help you recognize the areas in your life that are going really well, and then we'll look at the areas in which you are struggling. We will create actionable solutions to help you create long-lasting changes in your life. You don't have to do this alone. Go to my website, jamesmillerlifeology.com, and click on the page Work with James. Fill out the form and it will be sent directly to me. Don't let another day go by without finding your way. Your change can start today. Once again, go to my website, jamesmillerlifeology.com, and click on the page Work with James. Fill out that form to get started today. Processes that work for you. One of my favorite quotes is work smarter, not harder. And I often try and live my life that way. The processes that work for us are essentially things that work behind the scenes. We put them in motion and they assist us when we need them. For example, the majority of us have some form of a smartphone, but do we use it to its full capacity? For example, for me, if I know that I have an event that's coming up in the future, or someone tells me something in the moment, I will immediately record it in my phone. And so anytime that I need to have a reminder or have a note somewhere or be prepared for something, I know that it's going to be in my phone. That is a great process that works really well for me. When we create these small little things in our life, it helps us live a much more productive, successful life. If we're continually trying to remember things or do things that don't necessarily need our full attention, well, unfortunately, we're not working smarter, we're working harder. Let's look at a couple of these things that could potentially help you. For example, meal prepping. For those of you who make meals, sometimes trying to make a meal every single day, your schedule may not always allow for that. So creating a form of meal prepping on a certain day allows you to create multiple meals at one time. So when you are on the go, when you are busy, you have a meal prepared right away and you can grab that meal without having to worry about preparing it. Another thing is for those of you who go to the gym or who have some type of physical exercise, having your gym bag already prepared or maybe even your gym clothes already out allows you to not have that moment of thinking, well, I really don't have time for this, or I'm not really in the mood for it. When you have something already in place, it removes the excuses we may often have of not wanting to do something that's healthy for us. How you start your day is indicative of how it's going to go. So in the morning, creating a process for yourself of really inspiring you will help you carry on that inspiration throughout the day. Just as an example, in my own life, that's how I start my day. I start my day every morning working on my spirituality, and that's something I personally do. So for 30 minutes in the morning, that process is in place for me. I know I immediately need to do it. I have everything I need for that process ready for me. So as soon as I wake up, I'm able to do it. So it's the preparation of what we need is a wonderful process that works behind the scenes. So immediately just drop it in and do it, which is essentially a turnkey situation, which allows you to immediately do it without any hassle. I know many people go to big warehouse stores and they buy all these things in bulk. That is really a form of working smarter, not harder. You have it all there. And then when you need it, you just simply grab it from your pantry and it helps you be much more successful in that moment. Another one that's really important, and you're going to hear about this in just a few minutes, is your supplements. The supplements that we take is a process that works behind the scenes. When you take your multivitamin in the morning, it works behind the scenes throughout your body and it helps you. And you're going to hear about some great supplements in just a few minutes with Wade T LIghtheart. But I wanted to create this lesson overall to really help us focus on what do we have in place, which helps our life be much more successful. What is happening behind the scenes so we don't have to continually put that much energy in it. When at the end of the day, there's so many more things we should focus on. So these small little things you can put in place that immediately works for you allows you to be more successful when you actually need to engage in that behavior. So the biggest lesson today is what can you do to expedite something so when you have to engage in a behavior, it's already in place for you. Really think that through. The more often you can create these things up front, the more it creates for a successful life. Did you know I have a YouTube channel? That's actually how Lifeology started. I have well over 155 episodes that I've created specifically for you. I do know that many people struggle with listening to a full 30-minute show. So these episodes are about 3 minutes long. Each episode will give you a practical tool or technique that you can practice daily to help you simplify and transform your spirit, mind, and body. Simply go to my website, jamesmillerlifeology.com, or go to YouTube and search for my name, James Miller Lifeology. Wade T LIghtheart, host of the Awesome Health Podcast, is a 3-time all-natural national bodybuilding champion, advisor to the American Anti-Cancer Institute, and director of education at BiOptimizers Nutrition, one of the world's most innovative nutritional supplement companies. He is also the author of several books, including the best-selling books Staying Alive in a Toxic World and The Wealthy Backpacker. The Awesome Health Podcast is a big part of his mission to help others fix their digestion and transform their health with a daily practice of positive principles, rituals, and optimizers. Welcome to my show, Wade.
James, great to be here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be really exciting to hear how your own life has just transformed so much and how you're transforming the lives of my listeners. So this is going to be an awesome interview.
Looking forward to it.
So now, what is a all-natural bodybuilder?
Well, it's a person who goes in the sport of bodybuilding and decides that they're not going to use any performance-enhancing drugs as defined by, the WADA testing or IOC standard drug testing. So basically, there's 2 different types of bodybuilding. There's bodybuilding, which is, carte blanche, do whatever you want, whatever chemical can, and get as big as you possibly can. And then there's the natural route, which is designed to, enhance your physique as best as you can without using drug agents. And it's a pretty stringent group of chemicals that you can't use. There's a lot of common things that people can't even use, like aspirin or something, Oh,
wow. Well, that's really strict. I didn't realize it was that strict. Okay. Wow. Okay. Did you always know that's something you wanted to do?
Yeah, I wouldn't say always, but when I was 15 years old, I got 3 distinct events happened in my life that kind of put me on that path. And number one, my parents moved to an extremely rural place, 5 miles to my nearest neighbor, 50 miles. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, it was really in the middle. It's a pristine place, but not something you want to do when you're 15. Number 2, my sister was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, a form of cancer of the lymph nodes. And I watched her go through the medical model for 4 years before she passed an untimely death at age 22. She was older than me.
I'm so sorry.
And at the same time, she had given me a bodybuilding magazine, and it had Troy Zuclato on the cover, who had won Mr. California and a couple pretty girls. And at 15 years old, driven mad by testosterone, I said, wow, that's what I need to do. So I constructed a gym in my barn and started lifting weights and, watching Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and reading books. And then, later on, after a long, winding journey, I managed to represent my country at the Mr. Universe contest.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That's an awesome story. That really is. Now, after one of your competitions, didn't your body shut down or something?
Yeah, well, that's what happened. You see, I thought I was doing everything right. I've got the best coach. I've got Spartan discipline. I put 16 years into my body. I'm doing what I think is everything I'm supposed to be doing. And after my first Mr. Universe contest, I gained 42 pounds of fat and water in 11 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
wow.
So major shutdown. And I was like, well, how's this possible?
That's crazy.
I'm supposed to be doing everything right. And fortunately, I met a medical doctor who also had healed himself using a variety of nutritional methodologies. And he said, Wade, you've learned to build the body from the outside in, but you haven't learned to build the body from the inside out. And you really have to fix your digestion and what's going on internally. And so I went at it. I followed his protocol. At the time, I switched to a completely raw food diet. I took a whole bunch of digestive enzymes and probiotics and all these sort of things, transformed my health. In about 6 months, got back to, my physical level, and then started teaching these principles from there on out.
So it obviously really transformed your life. I mean, literally physically, as well as just the whole paradigm of how you view the world.
Absolutely. It was the piece, I think I made the common mistake that I think a lot of people do. And we all kind of worship athletes. And, because of their physical prowess or their capability in relative to their sport. And what it is we mistake a key component, and that is we mistake fitness for health. And fitness is a component of health, but they're not necessarily the same thing. And so I found that out the hard way.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, you did. So with that, that's then made your transformation for self as far as you started to teach this to other people. Is that how you became part of the BiOptimizers Nutrition?
Yeah, well, it kind of emerged to that because what happened is I was running a little holistic health clinic out in Vancouver, Canada, and I was, writing in bodybuilding magazines and created a course and all that sort of stuff, kind of sharing my story. And then what happened is I needed to. All these people started coming in who were different ages. They were 40, they were 50, they were 60. There were people who were dying of illness and stuff. And I did is I applied high performance principles that you could use to optimize your performance from the nutrition side, like what I had done to recover. And I started applying it to regular people. And all of a sudden they started getting better from all these various conditions.
Wow.
And so it wasn't like I was trying to heal anybody. I was just like, well, this is what I did, and here's what you might want to do. You can start with your digestive system. And little did I know that it would spawn that. And then eventually what I did is I co-partnered with Matt Gallant, my co-founder, and we created a company on how to optimize humans' performance, particularly focusing on digestion.
Well, so let's talk more about that. So people have a different perception of what digestion is. I mean, of course, everybody's heard of probiotic or kombucha or all these different types of things. What is the number one thing that you've found the most that most people, I guess the struggle that most people have when it comes to their digestion?
Well, I personally believe that they don't have enough enzymes in their diet. And what happens is their body has to metabolize protein tissue, convert it into enzymes, and use that to break down their food. I call it the turkey dinner syndrome. We've all had the Thanksgiving dinner where you eat the biggest meal of the year and then it's a mad dash to, well, it's either the couch or the floor where everybody's drooling and passing. And you think, well, if I'm getting all this energy from food, you'd think you'd have a lot of energy.
Sure.
But the reality is people are feeling tired, de-energized, they're getting sick because they're not able to actually absorb, utilize the food that they're eating, and they can't eliminate what's the waste product. And that's all tied to digestion, largely because we're the only species on the planet that eats cooked food. So whether I'm a snake eating a mouse, or whether I'm a whale eating a shark, or whether I'm a cow eating grass, I get the enzymes that are present in that living food. And we don't get that when we cook our food, because anything over 114 degrees destroys all the enzymes.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we have to use our own enzymes. And I do believe that this is what's caused the degeneration situation that people are experiencing, aka aging.
Wow, that's quite interesting. I think, many people hearing this probably right now thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't realize as far as any cooked food, what it really does to one's body. And especially if people's, even looking at processed food or just what people eat in general, if it's already has so many preservatives, et cetera, and then there's not enough enzymes as well, I mean, that's just kind of a double whammy.
Well, yeah, you make up a good point. So you have preservatives, you have the processing that goes through, which removes the enzymes. Then you also have, even on our organic produce, they put herbicides, pesticides, and fungicides on it. And if you look at how those agencies work to destroy bugs, is that they disrupt the enzymatic pathways inside that bug. So the bug dies. So what happens even if we're trying to eat good food that has these agents on it, or we're trying to, cook the best food. I'm not here to down on cooking or anything like that. But the reality is the deck is set against people, and the bottom line is your body has to go and manufacture these enzymes. And when it does that, it doesn't have the enzymes to regenerate your liver, regenerate your organs, make your brain function. And you're having that turkey dinner syndrome on a slow and steady decline throughout life. And we call that acceptable aging.
And that goes back with it. You just create a deficit as well. That deficit, you can never really make up for that until, maybe take your supplements or just looking at a different way or different types of food that you eat.
Exactly.
Well, so let's talk about some of the products that you have. Give us some examples of some of the amazing products that you guys offer.
Well, the first product that kind of defined the company was a product we called Maszymes, which is enzymes for the masses, which is a multi-stage proteolytic enzyme blend. It has 13 different enzymes. We put a particular focus on the protease, largely because that's the problem that most people have breaking down. Like the first thing to go out of your digestive system is proteolytic activity. That is the enzyme that breaks down protein, which is called protease. So we put 5 different types in it that works in a pH range from 2 to 12. So every pH range one. Plus we put in all the other important ones like amylase and lipase and all that sort of stuff that breaks down carbohydrates and fats, as well as a variety of other enzymes and enzyme enhancers to make the product really the truly superior blend on the product on the thing. And I started the company because I wanted something that was going to work for me and for my clients, and I wanted to be able to control everything from manufacturing to somebody's table.
Well, that's a really good point, because a lot of these, well, this is my own armchair version of this. I have no idea facts on this, but you look at a lot of these supplemental companies or companies who have supplements, and a lot of it is expired. I mean, it's really hard to really quantify what the true dosage is because it's not as regulated, I suppose. So how do you really make sure that yours is as fresh as possible and as well?
Yeah, great question. So first, anytime that you get your product manufactured, it needs to be at a GMP lab, which is the kind of highest standards of it. And then you usually have a timestamp. So in the United States, you stamp the expiry, you extend the expiry date. But in Canada, you have to have it. What is it 1 year after you've manufactured it? So there's 2 different standards if you're in the United States and Canada. I don't know why we can't seem to get everything uniform, but that's the difference between the two. So literally when we ship product to Canada, we have to label it a little bit differently. Second thing is you want to make sure that product is shelf stable without all the things like magnesium stearate and all these other stabilizing chemicals that are used to preserve products. You want to keep those out of the system, as that will lessen the effectiveness, shall we say.
Efficacy rate, sure.
Yeah. And then the other thing is you want to be able to make sure that you understand your turnover rates. So we sell directly to the consumer for the most part. We do have some practitioners and stuff that use our product, but that way we can control how quickly we can actually get the product out. And our turnover time is about 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so we keep it really, really tight. Where
Really
if you go
fast,
onto a shelf, you go to a shelf, it's it could be 2 years, 3 years, who knows?
Wow. So why do you think the difference is, as far as, and I could be wrong about this, but with so many companies who do sell their products perhaps in retail stores, do they not have that expiration integrity?
Well, they do. Like everybody has to put in your expiry dates. But what happens is, let's look at how a product is developed. So the product is, manufactured. That's usually a process that will take anywhere. And on a really good enzyme, it's probably going to take you somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks. Okay, to really we're talking cultured enzymes, which are literally 100 to 1,000 times more powerful than something you'd find in a food. Wow. And then that's going to be shipped to a warehouse. And then that warehouse is going to distribute to a distributor, and then that distributor is going to go to a store. And there's going to be time lags on all of those things. And then once it's at the store, it's all about the turnover within that particular store and how quickly that's going to be disseminated. With us, we go straight to it goes right from manufacturing right into our warehouse, and we send it directly to the customer. Wow. And we have a rapid turnover rate, or we send it directly to our practitioners who promote our products.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, that definitely makes much more sense to me as someone who, trusts these types of companies. And I'm so glad to hear that a company like yours really has that level of integrity, but also can really expedite it to the customer so fast. And so therefore, how fresh it is and how potent it is. What are some of the things that you found, maybe perhaps some of the reviews that you get from a lot of the customers who use your products?
It varies, but one of the biggest things, and this kind of sounds funny, but is just the ability to go to the bathroom regularly. That's one of the biggest ones. Wow. A lot of people are out there. If you're not having like a bowel movement after every meal, chances are you're on some degree of constipation. So most people are shocked when they first start taking it. that like, all of a sudden they're going to the bathroom at first, maybe 2, 3, 4 times a day as
Oh,
they
wow.
start removing this waste. And it, it stabilizes after a few weeks,
Sure.
as you get the stuff out. Next thing, bloating and gas. Oftentimes that's reduced dramatically. And sometimes with gas, they do need to add something like hydrochloric acid. If it's something persistent, particularly in people over 40. We've noticed that, adding an HCl oftentimes will make that process much better. So those are the two things. And then ultimately, skin conditions improve. And brain function. People don't have the brain fog when they woke up in the morning.
Sure,
yeah, because that's just the bad bacteria in your system, eating undigested protein and producing indole and skatol and all these neurochemicals that's causing that fog and the bad breath and all that sort of stuff in your body. It's not you, it's the bugs.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm actually looking at your products right here, and we talked about the mast enzymes. You have the P3OM probiotics and the Gluten Guardian and the HCl Breakthrough. So the HCl Breakthrough is the one specifically we're talking about for people who have gas as well.
Yeah, gas, or if you've contracted a parasitical, like a lot of people get parasites when they travel or something, you can take this at high dosage. I just did a series with the naturopathic doctor Katrine Volinsky, who's our in-house ND, on how because I got a parasite that was eating my eye literally.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's how I got into the HCl, and I got this HCl. And it fixed the situation up. I took really high dosages of it, and I really dove deep. And so we built the best HCl we could on the planet.
Oh my gosh!
And started using it for parasites.
Wow. Okay. And then so tell us more about the Gluten Guardian, because so many people have gluten allergies, and that's become more in vogue, or the zeitgeist of the world. So help us understand that.
Well, that's it. You bring up a great point, because what happens out there is we've all heard of lactose intolerant. People can't digest milk, and that you need lactase as the enzyme. And with gluten, there's a protein that covers gluten products today. It's like the cover of a baseball. And that protein coating your body can't break down. But there is a particular enzyme that does have that capacity. And so the thing is it's so easy to get gluten in your diet, especially if you're very sensitive. And everybody's sensitive to a certain degree. It's like from a 1 to 10, and people who are like 5 or above are having serious symptoms, and people who are having, under that are just like, oh, well, I just feel a little bloated because I ate too much bread last night. But they are having that effect, and it will worsen over time. So what we went about is saying, hey, you know what? We know that people literally sometimes want to have their cake and eat it too. Let's create a product that can provide an insurance for people if they're out at a social event, they're going to a family gathering, or they're off their diet. What can they do to, prevent having those horrible side effects that, gluten can cause? And so we developed that particular product, Gluten Guardian, which literally breaks down gluten. I think it's the only enzyme out there that I'm aware of that is able to do that.
So that's really the preventative nature as well. I mean, so if people if their diet is pretty strict, and they don't necessarily have to worry about that, but like you said, if they are out or they are around, so just being able to take that in a preventative measure really helps them be able to digest it.
Yeah, as you know, we can't prescribe or treat sort of stuff. But what I will say as a caveat on that is, depending on the level of your sensitivity will determine the amount of capsules you might need per meal. So that's there's usually a little feeling out process for people. And once they get that down, it's it's a phenomenal experience to relieve that kind of pain.
That's awesome. So we'll have just a couple more seconds. So tell us more about the probiotics that you have.
Yeah, so our probiotic is, you've all heard of super bacteria in the hospitals that are running rampant and they don't know how to treat because they're antibiotic resistance. Well, what we did is we worked with a very special doctor that was able to take a very aggressive probiotic strain and convert this through a patented process into like a super strain of probiotics. And the U.S. patent on it has demonstrated it's antiviral, it's antiretroviral, it's proteolytic, digests tumors, it serves as a screening agent against pharmaceuticals, it is maintainable in the gastrointestinal tract, which probably 95% of the probiotics out there today aren't. So that puts us in a very unique category, and it's a single strain. We're not taking a multi-strain that may be competing against each other. This is a strain that goes through your entire body. It's a transient strain, and it digests virtually all of the undigested protein in your system, and that's why it's so effective. And when people have that, it's like this might be the most transformational probiotic that I've ever worked with.
That's amazing. I mean, you do think about all these things. Once again, it goes back to the efficacy or how powerful these supplements are. I mean, to hear that, I mean, that makes me want to go out and purchase one right now. Thinking about that, because I do take probiotics myself, but to know how powerful this one is, I think that's really encouraging. That's definitely something I'm going to check out as well. Especially the mass enzymes too. I mean, obviously they're all great, but the mass enzymes and the probiotics, I think, are the ones that. Or now even the HCl. Now you got me scared about eyes. I don't want some parasite to be in my eye now. I don't even realize it.
Well, actually, HCl for most people just will aid in the digestion and also eliminate bacteria and pathogens. That's what HCl is. And after the age of 30, and particularly after 40, HCl production in the body generally tapers off, and it usually coincides with an increase in gas. That's usually a good sign that you're having that problem, and it's great for that.
Perfect. Okay. Well, Wade LIghtheart, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on my show today. If my listeners would like to find out more information about you and, of course, purchase these amazing products, where would they find this information online?
Well, first, I'm going to, for all your listeners, I'm going to give them a site, www.bioptimizers.com/lifeology. And what you're going to get there is you're going to get a 12-week course called the Awesome Health Course, which goes into detail about all the different things that we use to optimize people's health. It's little 5 to 15 minute videos that explains everything that I've learned over the last 20 plus years and who I learned it from. And if you want to learn more about enzymes and probiotics or HCl, all that stuff, it's all in there. And it's our free gift to everybody listening today. The course is about $6,000 worth of training, but we actually give it away for your listeners.
Wow. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And yes, my listeners, definitely check this out. I know, like I said, this is something I'm personally going to check out as well. So Wade LIghtheart, thank you once again for joining with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure hearing your wisdom.
Real pleasure.
I also want to thank you, the listener, for tuning in today. Please subscribe to this radio show through whichever portal you joined with us today, or please go to my website where you may sign up for my free newsletter, watch my YouTube episodes, read the articles I've written specifically for you, or you may enroll in the Lifeology Academy where you can take self-directed courses which will help you simplify and transform your spirit, mind, and body. If you'd like to personally work with me, be a guest on, or advertise on this show, simply visit jamesmillerlifeology.com. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms under the name James Miller Lifeology, except for Twitter, which is James M. Lifeology. Once again, thank you so much for your support, and I'll talk to you soon.